Just like how I will never be able to watch the end of The Bear Season 1 without doing a big old man cry, oh Mikey, why? It's a simple fact that Nintendo are not making games for the SNES anymore. Shame, but oh well. With amazing ROM hacks and homebrews like these, it shows that people can do what Nintendon't, or Nintendo haven't, for a long time. Hopefully someone can lower the Switch 2 prices soon though, oh jeez. Fire Emblem Binary and new theory of Thracia 776 more than just simple retranslation jobs for two Fire Emblem games that are bafflingly still locked to Japan, those being Genealogy of a Holy War and Thracia 776. If you've not played those two games before though, you should probably seek out those translations first before moving on to these admittedly more advanced ROM hacks. While they offer the same game, in a sense, the gameplay mechanics and overhauls shown in these hacks give the game a bit more edge. Even still though, there's a couple of changes to the story in terms of events and pacing that really make both experiences feel more complete, with new theory of Thracia 776 being a bit more transformative in its execution. For Binary, the changes range from pursuit no longer being required to perform double hits, more of the game's holy weapons are now obtainable, and weapons on the whole have been rebalanced so axe users are no longer completely left in the dust. New theory of Thracia 776 is a bit of a different approach, restoring a lot of allegedly cut content while giving players more choice in how they want to progress through the story, leading to some brand new events and party members. According to the hack's developer, FE5_AI, sorry if I've not got the leet speak down, there's over double the amount of original text added and the hack is still being worked on today. It's ambitious stuff and we have to applaud them for it. Be sure to drop your old school leet speak username down in the comments down below. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past would probably be considered the best Zelda game ever made if it wasn't for the small fact of Ocarina of Time getting in the way. Or freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land, obviously. Still, it's a phenomenal game, so it's not really a surprise that people wanted to extend that game's lifespan in any way they could. A common way of doing so is via ROM hacks, and one of the most successful and notorious of them all is Zelda Parallel Worlds. Like other examples in this video though, Parallel Worlds isn't for those who haven't played the original game, especially because Parallel Worlds is an entirely new experience with new dungeons and a new overworld to explore. Also, new music. Cool. Originally developed by Euclid and Zepp and released in 2006, Parallel Worlds quickly became notorious as one of the toughest Zelda ROM hacks of all time, but over the years it's managed to stand the test of time and be considered a core pillar of Zelda ROM hacking. It's also a ROM hack that's been iterated upon numerous times over the years, with 2012's Parallel remodeled by Puzzle Dude drastically rebalancing the difficulty to make it less diabolically taxing. There's also the 10th anniversary update, with help from Guertimodo, which is more in line with the original in terms of difficulty, yet still brings a host of new features. Basically, don't expect a breeze, but definitely do give this one a chance. Right, next, I am pondering my orb, trying to find a segue. How do you improve on a platformer that many would consider to be one of the single greatest contributions to the entire genre, or well, an entire industry? The answer is that you kind of don't, but instead you can pull elements from both Super Mario World and Super Mario Bros. 3 to create an all-consuming Goliath of a game that's bigger than the original, and filled with plenty of amazing levels and power-ups to discover. That's the approach that New Super Mario World 1 The 12 Magic Orbs took, which even adds more to the story of a Mario game, considering Bowser doesn't even kidnap Peach in this ROM hack. He does abscond with the titular 12 Magic Orbs though in an attempt to seize ultimate power, so it's not like Bowser isn't being his usual slight head self. With 12 worlds and nearly 100 levels, New Super Mario World 1 offers an increased amount of content over the original, but if somehow that's still not enough Super Mario World ROM hacking for you, the team behind this one did make a sequel called Around the World. If 12 unique worlds didn't sound like it was ambitious enough, Around the World offers 16 different worlds and another 90 plus levels, so between the two of these ROM hacks, you've got about 20 hours of premier platforming fun. But here's the best thing about Super Mario World ROM hacking though, and it's that there's always pretty much another choice, another version that'll entertain you forever, and no one's profiting from it. ROMhacks of Chrono Trigger are a notoriously contentious part of the fan gaming genre, hobby, industry, or whatever you want to call it, as it's the site of one of the biggest cease and desists in ROM hacking. A few weeks before Chrono Trigger Crimson Echoes, an ambitious fan game that attempted to use Chrono Trigger to bridge the gap to its sequel Chrono Cross, Square Enix would send a cease and desist to the development team, Kajar Laboratories, forcing them to never release it. To be fair to Square, I know, stop booing, this one time. Crimson Echoes was aimed to launch in 2009, about a year after the release of Chrono Trigger DS, which added a new scenario that did bridge the gap between Trigger and Cross. So, talk about stepping on toes. Of course, builds of Crimson Echoes would accidentally slip and fall and sneak out onto the World Wide Web years later, so clumsy. So it is out there and playable if you're curious, but that cease and desist was certainly an uh-oh moment. Before Square nuked Kajar though, they did manage to release Prophet's Guile 2 years earlier. Spoilers for the main game, but Prophet's Guile focuses specifically on one character instead of the whole party, as Magus in the 12,000 BC timeline tries to gain the trust of Queen Zeal so they can control Lavos in the Ocean Palace. Even though it's only about an hour long, it's been considered by a lot of Chrono Trigger fans to be a great addition to the Chrono Trigger timeline, and it costs $0. Mega Man fans might genuinely prefer Zero to Mega Man or /X or Blue Bomber or whatever he's calling himself at this point, so when Mega Man X3 made Zero a playable character, you'd think it'd be the most popular game in the whole franchise, right? Well, not quite, and that might be because actually controlling Zero in X3 is the most limited experience you could imagine. No upgrades or new weapons, and you can't even use them in any boss fights, like, what's even the point? Naturally, that wasn't going to sit well with ROM hackers, so enter Zero Project, developed by Justin3009, who has made it their mission to make Zero an actually fully fledged part of the game. To be fair, this is more than just a simple make Zero playable enough said ROM hack though, as Justin3009 has gone through the painstaking effort to change the cutscenes and dialogue across all games to reflect whether or not you choose to play as X or Zero. If that's not enough of a change for you, the password system has been completely removed and replaced with a proper save system, along with New Game Plus as an extra treat. Compared to other ROM hacks featured in this video, Mega Man X3 Zero Project might not be the most transformative game, but it's a prime example of delivering something that people felt the original game didn't quite capitalize on. Not all ROM hacks are about conjuring up new content out of thin air. Sometimes they're developed with a view to restore a bunch of cut or unfinished content, ideas that original developers might have had but either didn't have time to finish or were just left in the game's code. Hey, you know what? That was actually the case with Chrono Trigger Plus, another ROM hack that fleshes out areas like 1999 based on cut content, but sometimes as well, ROM hacks can actually revitalize content thought lost to time. Take, for instance, F-Zero for the Super Nintendo. You might be familiar with it, we've mentioned it about 2 times. Just the 2 times. In Japan, players were able to enjoy BS F-Zero Grand Prix 1 and 2, which were available to download through the Satellaview modern peripheral. Those specific tracks weren't archived, so when Satellaview servers were nuked, so were the BS F-Zero GP tracks. ROM hacker Guy Perfect, which is a pretty cool name, wasn't having any of that though, so using VHS tape footage of all the tracks, they've managed to recreate every single Satellaview track in one handy ROM, BS F-Zero Deluxe. Now this is truly the definitive version of one of the Super Nintendo's greatest racing games, including multiple versions of tracks depending on if the Satellaview version introduced changes, and even includes the 4 additional vehicles from BS. Just add that extra special spice, the time trial ghosts from Satellaview have even been implemented somehow. Yeah, sometimes ROM hacks manage to exceed the original work, and this is one of those times. Goes without saying of course, but we do hope a new F-Zero game in general from Nintendo is on the horizons. Considering it was the game that really kickstarted the gaming industry's love affair with mascots and go-karts, you should be surprised to learn that there's dozens of different ROM hacks for Super Mario Kart alone. Most of them offer new tracks, though a couple of them, like Hyper Street Kart or Super SpongeBob Kart, reimagine the game as a Street Fighter or SpongeBob SquarePants related kart racer. There's even a Super Mario Kart 8, which, as you might have guessed already, is a demake for Mario Kart 8 in the SMK engine. All of this is to say that Super Mario Kart ROM hacking is practically a cottage industry in and of itself, so trying to pick just one to focus on is a bit tough. For more information on cottage industries, be sure to Google cottaging in your area. Today though, we're spotlighting Super Mario Kart Horizons, an exhaustive overhaul of Super Mario Kart that's all about aesthetics. If there was a competition for the most gorgeous looking ROM hack of all time, Horizons might take the cake just based on the beautiful sunset on the title screen alone. What this ROM hack offers is 20 original tracks based on 8 brand new themes, along with 4 new battle stages, updated character sprites, support for 50, 100 and 150cc, and even an unlockable mirror mode, and a harder difficulty setting for those hoping for more challenge. If that's not enough to sell you on this ambitious as hell ROM hack, you should also know this hack has been tested and will work on original hardware, so not just an emulator, which is frankly crazy. If you thought that the dozens of Super Mario Kart ROM hacks were impressive, Final Fantasy VI nearly doubles that with 237 separate hacks just for this one game listed on ROMhacking.net at the time of writing. Every single one of these hacks changes something about the game, big or small, whether that's something small like bug fixes or something much bigger like a complete overhaul with new stories and characters. Depending on what you want from your enhanced Final Fantasy VI experience though, ROM hacks should see your needs met, but in this instance we're choosing to talk about Divergent Paths, a hack that could be seen as a director's cut for FF6. Potentially this is the one hack in this video that you should start your ROM hacking journey with. Instead of offering a brand new experience, the over 24 hackers credited on Divergent Paths aimed on telling a more complete version of FF6, with additional story cutscenes and some slight rearranging of events to help the game flow better. Perhaps most crucially though, Divergent Paths upgrades Leo's involvement in the story, allowing him to become the proper 15th party member without replacing anyone. There's even a 16th secret party member to find, and at the end of the game, every named character gets their own individual epilogue, from the main cast to all the side characters too. On paper it doesn't sound like a massive ROM hack, but it does offer substantial fundamental changes, and it sounds good to us. You know, the ROM hacking community for one series is pretty big when there's a dedicated website just for all of them. It's called Metroid Construction, and there you can find over 700 hackerinos across the early Metroid games, all the way up until Metroid Prime 3. Just for Super Metroid alone, these run the gamut of functional upgrades to complete overhauls, along with a few memes along the way. We're big fans of Super Metroid, but a bomb chases you and you die if you touch it, which is just the kind of snappy yet informative naming conventions we can get behind. Still, if you want the best Super Metroid ROM hack, might we recommend Ascent? It even won awards on Metroid Construction, so you know the hardcore community thinks it's pretty neat. Ascent is a complete overhaul of the original Super Metroid with a new set of areas to explore that focus on puzzles and discoverability over combat. Unlike most Metroidvanias, Ascent locks zones behind you after you leave, which might seem counterintuitive for a Metroid game, but each zone also has its own individual completion percentage displayed, so you get the choice when to leave, basically. It's also a much bigger and slightly tougher game than the original, as even though there's roughly the same amount of rooms, each room is way bigger and offers more for players to do. Also, it looks pretty good too, as the new areas use colour brilliantly. A top-notch hack all around, to be honest. What are you going to do when it feels like Nintendo simply won't make a new Star Fox game? Well, create a ROM hack about Nintendo trying to kill Star Fox, apparently. Unfortunately for us, when writing this script in April, rumours finally started circulating that a new Star Fox game could finally be announced this month, and knowing our luck, it'll finally have been announced in the time between writing, editing and publishing the video, so it might make this ROM hack video feel a bit out of date. Like and subscribe so that we can work on our seeing into the future powers. Just know that for the nearly 4 years since Star Fox EX came out in 2022, and the 5 years beforehand, there hadn't been any Star Fox games, and Star Fox EX used that series' inactivity to its own advantage. Instead of just fighting Andros, though he's also kicking about here, the plot of Star Fox EX sees the Mario brothers deciding that Star Fox simply doesn't belong in the wider Nintendo universe, and therefore the Lilac system must be destroyed. Star Fox EX comes with a brand new map to explore with 17 levels to blast through, each with new layouts, bosses and even music. This ROM hack even comes with support for the SNES mouse, Super Scope and the NTT datapad. There's also multi-tap support, as up to 5 players can share a screen and shoot down enemies. Throw in a host of customization options that allow you to truly tailor your experience, and you've got a contender for the best Star Fox ROM hack of all time, and one of the best SNES ROM hacks ever, really. Retro Gang, what was the last TV show that made you cry? And also, do you want more ROM hacks and Homebrews videos? Do you want it on the PS1? PS1 is really weirdly not that well covered for like Homebrews and ROM hacks. I don't know why. I think it'd be interesting to do something on Net Your Rose. Do you want something on that? Or do you want any other ROM hacks on other consoles or systems? Or even Mario and Link and I don't know. FIFA 95, run that joke into the ground. Anyway, I've been Jimmy for Culture Vultures. It's been good to have you, and I'll catch you when I catch you.